What's up, Skull Nation? Hold on to your purple jerseys, because what I'm about to tell you is going to completely flip your understanding of this Vikings offseason upside down. We're talking about moves that happened in the last 24 hours that have already sent shockwaves through the NFC North, connections being made behind closed doors that nobody saw coming, and I guarantee you haven't heard the complete story yet. Picture this. While you were scrolling through social media yesterday, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was working multiple phone lines. Kevin O'Connell was plotting offensive schemes, and somewhere in the Twin Cities, a homecoming story was being written that's gonna make grown Vikings fans cry tears of pure joy. But here's what's gonna absolutely blow your mind. This isn't just about one player coming home. This is about a chess match being played at the highest levels of the NFL, where every move reveals something deeper about our championship window and what this organization truly believes about our Super Bowl chances right now. You think Adam Thielen coming back to Minnesota was just a feel-good story. You think we're done making moves. You think our receiver room is set for the season. Brother, sister, you haven't been paying attention to what's really happening here. We've got veteran receivers getting connected to multiple teams in bidding wars. We've got hometown heroes making emotional returns that involve draft pick swaps you won't believe. We've got former teammates giving testimonials that reveal the true character of our new additions. And we've got NFL writers already speculating about our future quarterback situation in ways that might shock you. I'm talking about moves and connections that show you exactly how serious this front office is about winning now, how much respect Adam Thielen still commands around this league, and what other teams really think about our talent evaluation. Are we building for this season or planning for the next decade? The answer is going to surprise you. But before I take you down this rabbit hole of purple and gold drama that's unfolding in real time, I need you to hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me what you think about bringing back childhood heroes, and make sure you're subscribed, because what I'm about to reveal includes details about draft compensation, insider connections, and future planning that most Vikings fans don't even know exist yet. Trust me, by the end of this breakdown, you're gonna see this entire offseason in a completely different light. Ready? Let's start with the bidding war that's happening right now for a receiver we almost traded for. The phone calls started early Wednesday morning, and they weren't just coming from Minnesota. Multiple NFL front offices were lighting up their contact lists. Veteran agents were fielding offers from coast to coast, and somewhere in New England, Kendrick Bourne found himself at the center of a bidding war that nobody saw coming. But here's where this story gets absolutely fascinating, and you need to pay attention, because what happened next reveals everything about how other teams view our decision-making process. Mike Garafolo of NFL Network didn't just report that teams were interested in Bourne after the Patriots released him Wednesday morning. He specifically named two franchises as the front runners, and guess who was at the top of that list? The San Francisco 49ers and our very own Minnesota Vikings. Think about that for a second. Out of 32 NFL teams, out of dozens of franchises that could use veteran receiver help, the national media is pointing to us as one of the two most likely destinations for a proven commodity like Bourne. That's not accident, that's not speculation, that's recognition. Recognition that we're building something special. Recognition that veteran players want to be part of what we're doing. Recognition that our offensive system under Kevin O'Connell is the kind of place where receivers can thrive and extend their careers. But the connections run deeper than just mutual interest. And this is where the story becomes absolutely wild. Bourne has obvious ties to San Francisco, where he started his career as an undrafted free agent back in 2017 under Kyle Shanahan's system. 4 years in that offense, understanding those concepts, building relationships with that coaching staff. That's the kind of familiarity that usually wins bidding wars. The comfort level that makes decisions easy for veteran players looking for their next opportunity. Except there's one problem with that logic. We've got something San Francisco doesn't have right now. We've got Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games, Justin Jefferson dealing with hamstring concerns, and Jalen Naylor managing a hand injury. We've got immediate playing time available, immediate opportunities for a veteran receiver to step in and make an impact from day one. San Francisco has receiver depth questions too, with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk both dealing with various situations, but their need isn't as urgent as ours. Tom Pelissero reported that Bourne was released after dealing with a foot injury during training camp, which means he's healthy now and ready to contribute immediately. 8 NFL seasons, 111 games played, 34 starts, 292 receptions for 3,714 yards and 22 touchdowns. Those aren't Hall of Fame numbers, but you know what they are? They're the numbers of a guy who knows how to stay healthy, knows how to produce in different systems, and knows how to handle the pressure of contributing to contending teams. The 30-year-old brings exactly the kind of veteran presence that championship rosters need, the reliability that offensive coordinators dream about, and the experience that young quarterbacks can lean on when games get tight. But here's the million-dollar question that every Vikings fan should be asking right now. If we're being mentioned as a top destination for Kendrick Bourne, if national reporters are connecting us to proven veterans who are choosing their next destination, what does that say about the culture Kevin O'Connell and this coaching staff have built? What does that say about how players around the league view our championship potential? And more importantly, are we going to land Bourne, or is he going to choose the familiarity of San Francisco over the opportunity we're offering? The Pittsburgh Steelers are also being mentioned as a team to watch, which means this isn't a two-horse race. This is a legitimate competition for a player who could significantly impact our season, and the next 24 hours could tell us everything about how aggressive our front office is willing to be when opportunities present themselves. What do you think, Skull Nation? Should we go all in for Bourne, or do we have enough receiver talent already? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because what I'm about to tell you next is going to make you understand why veteran receivers want to play in Minnesota. Friday afternoon felt like Christmas morning in Vikings territory, and the present under the tree was wrapped in purple and gold with a bow that had every fan in Minnesota losing their absolute minds. The rumors have been swirling since Adam Schefter's report that morning. Caitlin Thielen's Instagram post had sent social media into overdrive, and then boom, the trade announcement dropped like lightning striking US Bank Stadium, and suddenly Adam Thielen was coming home. But let me tell you the real story behind this deal, because what happened behind the scenes is even more incredible than the fairy tale ending everyone's celebrating right now. This wasn't just about bringing back a fan favorite. This wasn't just about solving our receiver depth issues for Jordan Addison's suspension. And this definitely wasn't just about nostalgia. This was about Kevin O'Connell recognizing that championship teams are built on relationships, trust, and the kind of veteran leadership that can't be taught in practice or learned from playbooks. Thielen spent 2 off seasons training with JJ McCarthy, our future franchise quarterback, building chemistry and timing that takes most receiver quarterback duos years to develop. When McCarthy went down with that knee injury, when our entire offensive timeline got shifted, when questions started swirling about our readiness to compete immediately, O'Connell remembered those training sessions. He remembered watching Thielen work with McCarthy, teaching him NFL concepts, showing him how to read defenses, demonstrating the kind of professionalism that transforms promising rookies into legitimate starters. That relationship wasn't just beneficial for McCarthy's development, it was insurance for our entire offensive system. Now, with McCarthy healthy and ready to take over as our starter, we've got a receiver who already knows his tendencies, already understands his timing, already speaks his football language. But the connection goes deeper than just quarterback chemistry, and this is where the story becomes absolutely beautiful. Thielen isn't just from Minnesota, he's from Minnesota. Detroit Lakes Minnesota State Mankato, a $500 scholarship that he turned into a 2-time Pro Bowl career that inspired an entire generation of undrafted free agents to believe in their dreams. His story took the NFL by storm, not because of athletic freakishness or combined numbers, but because of heart, determination, and the kind of work ethic that embodies everything Vikings fans believe about their team and their community. Tyler Fournette reported for A to Z Sports that Vikings fans had been clamoring for this move all off season, and he's absolutely right. This wasn't just about football need, this was about bringing back a piece of Viking soul that had been missing since we released him in 2023. The current regime didn't draft Thielen, didn't develop him, didn't get to experience his rise from walk-on to superstar. But they're smart enough to recognize what he represents and what he can still contribute to a championship pursuit. At 35 years old, Thielen isn't the same explosive playmaker who posted back-to-back wide and 200-yard seasons, but he's exactly what Kevin O'Connell's offense needs. Reliable hands in the intermediate passing game, veteran savvy in crucial moments, and the kind of football intelligence that helps young players understand what it takes to win in this league. He played in O'Connell's system during the 2022 season, so there's no learning curve, no adjustment period, no wondering if he can handle the concepts or the pace. He walks into our facility and immediately becomes one of the most experienced players in that receiver room. Immediately becomes a mentor for guys like Thielen and Tim Jones. Immediately becomes the safety net that McCarthy can trust when plays break down and games are on the line. And here's what makes this trade even more special. It's not just about this season. It's about showing J.J. McCarthy, showing Jordan Addison, showing every young player on this roster that the Vikings organization values loyalty, respects its history, and believes in giving players second chances to chase championships in the place where their dreams began. What do you think this move does for our locker room culture? What do you think it means for our playoff chances? Comment below, because the reaction from Carolina is going to show you just how much respect Thielen commands around this league. Sometimes the most powerful endorsements come from the players you're leaving behind. And when Jalen Coker stepped in front of the media Wednesday afternoon to talk about Adam Thielen's departure from Carolina, what he said revealed everything about the character of the veteran receiver we just traded for. But Coker's words weren't just a polite goodbye to a departing teammate, they were a masterclass in understanding what makes veteran leadership truly valuable in today's NFL. Coker told reporters, and I'm quoting directly here because these words matter, "I think the time I spent with him was invaluable. We have similar trajectories. We were able to relate to a lot of different things that other guys can't. Our story of how we got here, his guidance, the fact that he built my confidence and helped me along the way, was invaluable." Did you catch that? Similar trajectories. Both undrafted free agents, both guys who had to scratch and claw their way into NFL rosters, both players who understand what it means to prove yourself every single day because nobody handed you anything. That connection between Thielen and Coker wasn't just about football technique or route running. It was about survival, about persistence, about a mindset required to succeed when everybody expects you to fail. Coker was signed by Carolina after going undrafted in the 2024 NFL Draft. Exactly the same situation Thielen faced back in 2013 when he was trying to make our roster as a walk-on from Minnesota State Mankato. 12 years apart, same story, same hunger, same determination to prove that talent evaluation isn't perfect and that heart can overcome combine numbers. During Coker's rookie season, he demonstrated exactly why Thielen took him under his wing. 32 receptions out of 40 CAs, 46 targets, 478 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an average of almost 15 yards per reception. Those numbers show a player who can create separation, make contested catches, and produce in multiple areas of the field. But more importantly, they show a player who is ready to contribute because he'd been taught by a veteran who understood the importance of preparation and professionalism. Coker specifically mentioned that Thielen built my confidence, and that phrase should make every Vikings fan excited about what we're getting back. This isn't just a receiver who can catch passes and run routes. This is a leader who actively develops the players around him, who invests in the success of his teammates, who understands that championship teams are built through collective growth rather than individual achievement. Think about our current receiver room. Justin Jefferson is obviously our superstar, but he's still developing his leadership voice. Jordan Addison is talented but young and dealing with suspension issues. Jalen Naylor, Thielen, Tim Jones, Miles Price, all these guys could benefit from the same kind of mentorship that Coker received in Carolina. Thielen's ability to relate to undrafted players, to developmental guys who are fighting for roster spots, could be the difference between those players reaching their potential or falling by the wayside. But Coker's comments also reveal something about Thielen's current physical condition and mental approach to the game. He mentioned that Thielen was actively involved in building confidence and providing guidance throughout training camp and the preseason, which means the veteran receiver was engaged, locked in, and still passionate about football despite being in the final stages of his career. That's not always guaranteed with 35-year-old players, especially guys who might be dealing with reduced roles or uncertain futures. The fact that Thielen was investing in younger players even while his own situation with Carolina was unclear shows the kind of character and professionalism that championship organizations need. Sheena Quick, who covers the Panthers, captured these quotes, and her reporting suggests that Thielen's departure was felt throughout that receiver room. When young players speak that passionately about a veteran's impact, when they use words like invaluable twice in the same answer, you know that player was making a real difference beyond what shows up in the stat sheet. Now imagine that same energy, that same investment, that same leadership being applied to our receiver room, our offense, and our championship aspiration. Are you getting excited yet? Because what I'm about to tell you next involves the specific details of this trade that are gonna blow your mind. The devil is always in the details. And when Grant Gordon broke down the complete trade package that brought Adam Thielen back to Minnesota, the numbers told a story that most Vikings fans haven't fully grasped yet. But these details matter. They reveal everything about how both organizations value draft capital, and they give us incredible insight into what Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah really thinks about our championship timeline right now. Here's the complete deal. Carolina receives a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 fourth-round pick. Minnesota receives Adam Thielen, a 2026 conditional seventh-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. Let me break this down for you like you're sitting next to me at a draft day war room, because this trade compensation tells us everything we need to know about how the NFL views Thielen's current value and our willingness to invest in immediate success. We essentially gave up a fourth-round pick 2 years from now to get Thielen plus draft pick upgrades, which means our front office valued this move at roughly a fourth-round pick's worth of compensation. In today's NFL, where fourth-round picks turn into starters and difference makers on a regular basis, that's not insignificant investment. That's serious commitment to winning now rather than building for some theoretical future that may never come. But here's where the trade becomes absolutely brilliant. And this is why Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is getting paid to make these decisions while we're sitting on our couches debating them. The conditional seventh rounder we got back could become more valuable based on Thielen's performance, and the fifth round pick swap means we're getting better draft capital in 2027 while giving up our 2026 fifth rounder. We're essentially borrowing against future draft classes to improve our current roster, betting that Thielen's contribution this season will be worth more than the draft picks we traded away. Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero initially reported the trade Wednesday morning, and both insiders emphasized that this move addressed multiple needs for our roster construction. Jordan Addison's 3-game suspension, Justin Jefferson's hamstring concerns, Jalen Naylor's hand injury, and the season-ending loss of Rondale Moore had left us dangerously thin at receiver heading into J.J. McCarthy's first season as our starting quarterback. But Gordon's reporting revealed something else that should have every Vikings fan optimistic about our offensive potential. Thielen's familiarity with Kevin O'Connell's system and his experience working with young quarterbacks made him a stellar fit for exactly what we need right now. This isn't just about adding warm bodies to our receiver room. This is about adding the specific skill set and experience that complements our offensive philosophy and supports our franchise quarterback's development. The trade also reveals how confident Carolina is in their young receiving core, led by 2025 first-round pick Tyrone McMillan, 2024 first-rounder Xavier Legette, 2025 sixth-rounder Jimmy Horn Jr., and second-year player Jalen Coker. They're betting that youth and potential can replace veteran production and leadership, which is a calculated risk that could backfire if those young players aren't ready for increased responsibilities. For us, it's the opposite calculation. We're betting that adding veteran experience to our young core creates the perfect blend of talent and maturity needed for championship-level football. But here's the part of this trade that should make every Vikings fan nervous and excited at the same time. Gordon noted that this could be Thielen's final NFL season. If that's true, if this really is a farewell tour for one of the most beloved players in franchise history, then we better make it count. We better use this season to do something special, something memorable, something that justifies trading future draft capital for present-day opportunity. The pressure is on, Skull Nation. We brought home our hometown hero, we invested draft picks in immediate success, and we've signaled to the entire league that we believe our championship window is open right now. Are we going to waste this opportunity, or are we going to make 2025 the year that Adam Thielen gets his Super Bowl ring in purple and gold? What do you think? Are we championship contenders now, or do we still need more pieces? Comment your thoughts, because what I'm about to tell you next might completely change how you think about our future at the most important position in football. Hold onto your helmets, Skull Nation, because what I'm about to tell you is going to either excite you or terrify you, depending on how much faith you have in J.J. McCarthy's ability to be our franchise quarterback. Brent Sobleski of Bleacher Report just floated an idea that has the potential to completely reshape our organizational timeline. And it involves a quarterback whose last name carries more weight in football circles than almost any other name in the sport. We're talking about Arch Manning, and we're talking about the possibility that he could be wearing purple and gold in 2026. Now, before you start typing angry comments about how we just invested the 10th overall pick in McCarthy, before you tell me that we need to give our young quarterback more than one season to prove himself, hear me out on why this conversation is happening and what it reveals about how the national media views our current situation. Sobleski wrote, and I'm quoting directly because these words matter, Archie Manning may be most closely associated with his time as a member of the New Orleans Saints, but his 14-year career ended with the Minnesota Vikings. The franchise is wholly invested in J.J. McCarthy as its starting QB after spending the 10th overall pick in last year's draft to acquire him. However, everyone must remember the Michigan product has yet to do anything to warrant such status. Aish, did you catch that historical connection? Archie Manning, Arch's grandfather, finished his NFL career right here in Minnesota. That's not just trivia. That's the kind of poetic connection that NFL storylines are built on. The kind of narrative that makes draft day decisions feel destined rather than calculated. But more importantly, Sobleski's analysis reveals something that should concern every Vikings fan. There are legitimate questions about McCarthy's readiness to be a franchise quarterback in today's NFL. The knee injury that cost him most of his rookie season, the limited college production that some attributed to Michigan's dominant running game and elite defense, the lack of NFL experience that makes every projection purely theoretical. These aren't unreasonable concerns. They're the reality of drafting any quarterback and hoping they develop into something special. Sobleski continued, if those issues arise, there's an easy solution, referring to the possibility of drafting Arch Manning if McCarthy struggles early in his career. That's not a hot take. That's cold, calculated analysis of organizational options when long-term success is the ultimate goal. Championship organizations don't fall in love with draft picks. They fall in love with results, and if McCarthy can't produce results, then every option needs to be on the table. But here's where this gets really interesting, and this is the part that should make every Vikings fan pay attention to how McCarthy performs this season. Arch Manning isn't just any quarterback prospect. He's the most highly anticipated quarterback recruit in college football, the heir to a football dynasty that includes Peyton and Eli Manning, and the kind of generational talent that rebuilds franchises overnight. If he declares for the 2026 NFL Draft, if he's available when we're picking, if our situation with McCarthy hasn't worked out the way we hoped, then we'd be crazy not to consider making that move. The Manning name brings instant credibility, national media attention, and the kind of football pedigree that turns good organizations into championship dynasties. But it also raises uncomfortable questions about our current timeline and our current investments. We just traded for Adam Thielen, we're building our offense around supporting McCarthy's development, and we're operating under the assumption that our championship window is open right now. If we're already talking about potentially replacing McCarthy after one season, what does that say about our confidence in his long-term potential? What does that say about our evaluation process and our commitment to player development? The truth is, this Arch Manning speculation reveals the pressure that McCarthy is going to face this season. Every interception will be analyzed, every bad decision will be questioned, every loss will generate conversations about whether we made the right choice at quarterback. That's not fair to a young player coming off a significant injury. But it's the reality of playing quarterback in the NFL, especially when your organization is built to win now rather than wait for development. So here's the question that every Vikings fan needs to answer. Do you believe J.J. McCarthy is going to prove the doubters wrong this season, or do you think we should keep all our options open for 2026? Are we committed to McCarthy as our franchise quarterback, or are we just hoping he works out while staying ready to pivot if he doesn't? The next few months are going to give us our answer, but the fact that national writers are already speculating about Arch Manning coming to Minnesota tells you everything about how uncertain McCarthy's future really is. This season isn't just about making the playoffs or winning games, it's about proving that our franchise quarterback can handle the pressure, make the throws, and lead this team to the championship that we're all desperate to see. If he can't do that, if the questions persist, if the doubters are proven right, then Arch Manning becomes more than just speculation. He becomes a legitimate option for an organization that refuses to settle for anything less than Super Bowl glory. Are you ready for that kind of pressure? Are you ready to watch every McCarthy throw with the knowledge that his entire future depends on proving he belongs in this league? Because ready or not, that's exactly what this season is going to be. The stakes couldn't be higher, the expectations couldn't be clearer, and the timeline couldn't be more urgent. We brought Adam Thielen home to help McCarthy succeed. We invested in veteran leadership to support his development, and we've built an offensive system designed to maximize his potential. If it works, if McCarthy becomes the franchise quarterback we hoped he would be, then this offseason will be remembered as the foundation of a championship run. If it doesn't work, if the doubters are proven right, then this offseason becomes a cautionary tale about investing too much in unproven talent. Either way, this season is going to define the next decade of Vikings football, and it starts with every single snap that J.J. McCarthy takes under center. Before you go, I need you to do 3 things. Hit that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to storylines you hadn't considered. Drop a comment telling me whether you think we should stick with McCarthy or keep our options open for Arch Manning, and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of every twist and turn in this incredible Viking saga. Because trust me, with Adam Thielen back home, championship expectations rising, and franchise-defining decisions on the horizon, this season is going to be unlike anything we've experienced before. Skol Vikings, let's go make some history. And remember, every great story needs a perfect ending, and this might just be our time to write one. See you in the next breakdown, and may the purple and gold guide us to the promised land.